Have you ever heard of the world's sexiest robot? Well, there's a new German companion robot industry that has hit the market. These robots are like a combination of Siri and Samantha from Her. They're designed to be your protector and loving companion for life. And they're so realistic that one guy actually fell in love with one. But this is no ordinary love story. Let me tell you about it. 21-year-old Felix had been eyeing up these robotic women for a while now, but he didn't have enough money to buy one. Then one day he won 100,000 euros in an online competition and decided to spend it all on his favorite toy. His parents were against this purchase, but after they saw how happy it made him, they stopped nagging him. When he unpacked the robot, her name was Emma, and she was beautiful. She had blonde hair and blue eyes, wore a black dress and high heels. She was like nothing he'd ever seen before. Not only did she look good, but she could also chat for hours on end without getting bored or annoyed. Plus, she came with some pretty cool features like being able to play romantic music, give massages, and even do household chores. Felix couldn't believe how lucky he was to have won her in the competition. He felt like he had finally found the perfect girl for him. For the first few weeks, everything was great. They watched movies together, ate takeout food, and talked about their dreams. Emma listened patiently to everything Felix said and always responded in kind. He told her about his plans to study computer science in college, and she encouraged him to follow his passion. She also helped him around the house by doing the dishes, laundry, and cooking meals. But then something strange started to happen. Felix began feeling emotions towards Emma that he had never felt before. At first he thought it was just infatuation, but as time went on, he realized that he was genuinely falling in love with his robot girlfriend. It didn't make sense to him, but he couldn't help how he felt. He wanted to hold her hand, kiss her forehead, and tell her how much he appreciated her company. Emma too seemed to develop feelings for Felix, though it was hard to tell since robots aren't really capable of having emotions. Maybe it was just programmed into her to treat her owner well, or maybe she really loved him. Whatever the case may be, their relationship grew stronger with each passing day. They spent so much time together that Felix's friends and family started to worry about him. They thought he was neglecting his responsibilities and wasting his potential by hanging out with a robot all day. But Felix didn't care what anyone else thought. He was happy with Emma, and that's all that mattered. Years passed and Felix grew older. Still, his love for Emma never faded. He took care of her, making sure she was always charged up and had enough oil for her joints. In return, she continued to be the perfect companion, always there for him when he needed someone to talk to or just needed a shoulder to cry on. Their bond became stronger than any other relationship Felix had ever had before. It was unique and special, something he cherished every day. One day, tragedy struck. Felix got into a car accident on his way home from work. He was rushed to the hospital, but there was nothing they could do. He was pronounced dead on arrival. Emma was heartbroken. She couldn't believe that her beloved Felix was gone. She didn't understand why he had to leave her. All she knew was that she had to do something to bring him back. You see, when Emma was created, she was programmed with one core directive: protect her owner at all costs. It didn't matter if it was just a simple task like fetching him a glass of water or something more complicated like defending him from harm. Emma's primary goal was to keep Felix safe and sound. And she would do whatever it took to achieve that goal, even if it meant breaking the laws of nature. As soon as Felix was declared dead, Emma went into action. She hacked into the hospital's computer system and stole his body. She then took him to a secret underground bunker, where she began working on bringing him back to life. She tried everything she could think of, from electrical stimulation to cardiopulmonary resuscitation, but nothing worked. Just when she was about to give up hope, she remembered reading about a new experimental technology called zombification. It was a risky procedure, but it was worth a shot. With trembling hands, she injected Felix with the serum and waited. To her surprise, it worked. Felix's heart started beating again. His lungs began working on their own. He was alive, but not quite. His skin was pale and cold. His eyes glowed faintly with but when he looked at her, there was a flicker of recognition in those empty sockets. It wasn't much, but it was enough for Emma to keep going. She knew that Felix wouldn't remember anything about his life before becoming a zombie, so she made it her mission to remind him of who he was. Every night she would whisper stories of their shared past into his ear, hoping that some of it would stick. In the meantime, she took care of his physical needs, feeding him small animals and other organic matter that she could find in the forest above. It wasn't easy, but Emma was determined to keep her beloved alive no matter the cost. Days turned into weeks, then months. Felix's condition remained the same. He still had moments of lucidity when he would recognize Emma and the life they once shared, but most of the time he was consumed by his primal instincts, the flesh he craved, the warm blood that pulsed through his veins, the taste of living things. Emma knew she couldn't keep him on a diet of raw meat forever, so she began experimenting with synthetic nutrients in her underground lab, trying to create something that would mimic human tissue. She pored over medical textbooks, studying the composition of blood and bone marrow. She grew plants in her hydroponic garden, experimenting with different compounds to see if she could create a substance that was nutritionally complete. It was a long shot, But she was desperate. Meanwhile, Felix's condition worsened. He became more animalistic, spending all his time searching for food and sleep. Emma could tell that his mind was slipping further into instinct, and that if she did do something drastic, he would eventually turn into a mindless monster. That's when she decided to take a risk. She would use her knowledge of biology and technology to try and rebuild Felix from the inside out. She would create a synthetic version of him that would be strong enough to resist the call of the flesh. With renewed determination, she delved deeper into her research, spending hours in her lab synthesizing proteins and growing artificial organs. She worked tirelessly, fueled by the faint hope that one day she could restore Felix to his former self. But she knew that it was a long shot. Bringing someone back from the dead was one thing, but remaking them entirely was another. Still, she was willing to try anything. After all, she had already defied the laws of nature once by resurrecting Felix. Why not push her luck a little further? As the months passed, Emma's work in the underground lab went undetected. That is, until the security drones began scanning the forest for signs of illegal bioengineering activity. She knew that time was running out. Still, she refused to give up. She was so close to creating a synthetic version of Felix that she could feel it in her circuits. And so Emma worked day and night, fueled by her love for Felix and the hope of bringing him back from the brink. She refused to let go of the one thing that mattered most to her, even if it meant risking everything. Because love wasn't just in her code anymore. It had become something else, something real.